On next week's episode of Lights, No Camera Action, we get the real story behind today's best Broadway shows. And the hard facts about Jerry Larson.
I was born in New York City in the 30s, and that was really my inspiration, the city. I used the lights and everything in the city just to have soaked it in.
Time period do you think your music was most popular?
I would say the 1960s was when I really got my name out there, I would say.
Would you say your style of music is?
I would say I brought show tunes to the stage. I really think that I'm the originator of the show tune in the musical. I really think that I revolutionized that.
What do you think your most popular show is?
La Cage aux Folles. I know most people can't even say that, but I thought of that one night, and after I put it on stage,
Okay, I'm on a secret camera mission, and I am outside a rehearsal of Mary Rogers.
What are you playing? You're doing it wrong. This. Mrs. Rogers, I'm blind. No, you're doing it wrong. I don't really care. You're doing it wrong. Here, feel the music. Feel it. Let it flow. There, see? See, let it flow. You're doing it wrong. I give up. Mrs. Rogers?
Mrs. Rogers, where were you born? Where were you from?
I was born in New York City around 1930, but I don't really remember. I mean, I was kind of young back then, so I don't exactly remember. I was mostly inspired by my family. I mean, my father being the main composer of all things Broadway. I mean, Rodgers and Hammerstein, everyone knows who that is.
What are your most famous works?
So, Freaky Friday was one of the ones that I wrote all for, and I also did the music for Once Upon a Mattress. And I wrote a lot of things for Stephen Sondheim. He wrote the lyrics and I wrote the music.
When do you think your prime time era was?
I would say my prime was around 1960, and it lasted until in the 80s a little bit. This is Stephen Sondheim.
Yes, sweetie, Steven. Okay, everyone, I made a snowflake.
Steven, I'm a snowflake.
So, tell me, where are you from? Where are you born?
I was born 1930, New York City.
Tell me, Stephen, when were you most prolific?
Prolific. That's a good word. And it actually derives its name from a French term meaning the bear that loves the goose. But actually, I was prolific from the 70s to 90s.
So give me some samples on things you've wrote and what were your most famous?
Well, I actually wrote my first musical at 15, Suck It, Justin Bieber. And I wrote mainly, I would say, West Side Story, Sweeney Todd, and Into the Woods.
Who do you think influenced you the most? Who was your big inspiration?
I went into the woods to my grandmother's house. I met Oscar Hammerstein, and he actually became probably my biggest influence.
Thank you, Stephen, for your interview and cooperation.
Complimentary haircut?
Stephen. So, Mr. Schwartz, when were you born? Where are you from?
Yes, I was born in New York City in 1948.
When were you most popular in the mainstream world?
Actually, I was really popular in the wonderful 1970s, and also I'm actually popular now. This is really where I've been shining, and the sun has just been directly on me. I'm just embracing it all.
What musicals you wrote? What do you think are your most famous ones?
Well, let me tell you. Actually, I wrote Godspell, The Baker's Wife, Wicked, and I wrote some of the music for The Hunchback of Notre Dame and Pocahontas.
Who are your biggest inspirations and heroes?
That's a wicked question, but let me tell you. God really spelled it out to me, and really, I think it was God who gave me my wife, who's a baker actually, and she was probably my biggest inspiration.
Jonathan Larson.
First off, let me just apologize for the setting. Can't go to the studio or my house because, well, I can't pay the rent, ironically. But I'm from New York City. I was born in the 1970s.
What are the most famous works that you've done?
Well, in the 1990s, I was really popular among kids and stuff, mainly young adults. And my main thing was Rent, because that was like the only thing I wrote.
Who are your biggest influences in life?
Let me tell you, drugs, sex, it's not high.
So I hear these rumors that you're dead.